Welcome into KSO Postgame Live. Mason Voth, Drew Galloway here with you. The Cats are winners once again. Rest easy, everybody. The Cats have done it. Big day for them. 41-28, the final score. You wouldn't have guessed it if you watched the first quarter, because for the second straight home game, 0 total points in the first quarter for K-State and their opponent. But that thing turned around pretty quickly, because then K-State was able to go out and grab points here, grab points there, and quite the day for the Wildcats, especially given the way that they did it. TCU ends up outgaining them by a significant margin in this game, over 100 yards, 105 to be exact, but K-State forced 3 turnovers, 2 of which led to touchdowns, another one that led to a touchdown that had a very, very short field for K-State. So they were able to put it on TCU. They led 14-7 at halftime. One of those defensive scores coming just before the half on a backwards pass by Josh Hoover. Wesley Fair picked it up and took it back for a touchdown. Then got a 15-yard penalty for launching the ball into the stands. We'll talk about that. I'm not hating on Wesley Fair for it, so we'll discuss. We'll discuss the logic behind it, everything. And then K-State comes out, and they do exactly what they did in the third quarter, where they outscore TCU 14-7. They get a defensive score in the game. It was exactly what you would have wanted if you were K-State in this game, because the offense, Chris Kleiman, I think, said it well after the game, that all 3 phases did good things during the game, like really good things at times, but he still understood the offense wasn't exactly crisp. The defense didn't always come through with that answer, but ultimately it didn't really matter, because once K-State got up 21, even though still very early in the game with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, and then they did it again with 10 minutes to go in the fourth, it was going to be really hard for TCU to actually come back and win this thing. So K-State did what they had to do. They get a pretty comfortable win over a team that we thought was pretty solid in the Big 12. And now K-State 2-2, like a lot of teams in this league are about to be. You say, why is that? Well, as we know, TCU now a 2-loss team. They lost to Arizona State in a thriller a couple of weeks ago. Then they lose here today to K-State. Obviously, they're the teams that suck. Oklahoma State, West Virginia, UCF, Colorado got it. Iowa State, though, lost to Colorado today in Boulder. So K-State finds themselves, hard to believe, I understand it, K-State finds themselves in the top half of the Big 12 standings right now through 4 games. And that's with a lot of ball games to be played yet, because KU has to play. They're sitting at 2-1. So you have some things to watch for there. Drew, we'll get into some of the nitty-gritty from the game, but just your immediate takeaways and thoughts from what K-State was able to do to get the win over TCU today.
Yeah, a funny game overall. Like you pointed out, it was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter. For a pretty good chunk of the second quarter, it felt like it was going to be 0-0 at the at the end of the second quarter, until TCU was able to score. K-State answers, and then probably the play of the game was the Wesley Fair scoop and score, because TCU kind of gave up on the play, and especially the intended target on the play kind of gave up on it, and Wesley Fair heads up play took it back for a touchdown, and from there it kind of felt like K-State was in control. You pointed out that when K-State got up 21, it never felt like TCU was going to threaten. I think when they got up 14 and the Desmond Purnell pick 6 happened, that kind of felt like TCU was unraveling, and especially on the sidelines.
Yeah, I'll say at that point, I personally thought, I think it's different now. Like when Des Purnell did it, it's like, okay, this feels like one that they can probably hang on to, because they have the momentum, and that's like such a back-breaking thing for TCU, is that you already had the fair play, but now you have that pick 6. And that one was just terrible throw by Josh Hoover, who looked clueless at times today.
Yeah, like you also kind of come out of this game thinking that the score doesn't totally reflect how the game went. Like K-State got up 21, and then the Eric McAllister play happened. K-State has been a victim, not just of allowing the big play, like when they can really step on the opponent's throat, but has become like a victim of like the defense is right there, and the offense makes a big play. Like Zayshawn Rich is in almost perfect coverage, but Eric McAllister catches it and takes it to the house. And then it happened in garbage time.
He got a little far behind there, which up to that point, I thought it was a phenomenal day for the K-State corners.
Yes.
Like easily their best game of the year.
And then it happened again on the last TCU touchdown where Zayshawn Rich again is like right there.
Yeah, I thought he might pick it.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to pick it, and it ends up being a touchdown. So it was the most complete game that K-State has played. Not their A game. Defense, I think, probably gets a B+. Allowed too many explosives. Like K-State got crushed in the explosive plays today. Offense was probably like a B-, maybe C. Like the offense, it was clunky at times. You started the game with 3 drives ending in TCU territory, but you have to punt on all 3. So like you kind of did okay, but you also like had times where the offense looked pretty incredible and unstoppable. Weirdly, special teams probably gets like an A-, B+ territory. They didn't do anything terrible. The punting was not good today. It wasn't good. It wasn't good last week. It wasn't good this week. I'll give Simon McClendon a pass on the second punt. That's a punt that has to be downed. You had 4 guys there. The ball landed at the 5-yard line, and nobody can get there. But the other punts weren't great. Luis Rodriguez is awesome. The return game was like non-existent and didn't need to be also. Like it wasn't like, oh, they're like setting K-State back so far. Like there was no chance that they needed to return. And also like it didn't set K-State back far when they did return one.
Yeah, they did a good job today for the most part. And honestly, I'll be interested to see if it continues. I want more kicks from Simon McClendon, like what he did to start the second half. That was like the ideal kickoff. Now, K-State didn't cover it that well because I think TCU still ended up getting out to 25 to 30-yard line on it. But like that's the idea of what you would want to do. I mean, it's pretty similar to what we've seen the strategy in the NFL turn to recently with a lot of the kickers. So you're going to have probably some more times where you boot it out of bounds or something weird happens. But I think that might be a strategy to look for K-State. I liked it. I thought that was good because Simon McClendon's proven he's not a boomer. He's not going to get it through the back of the end zone for you. And then, I mean, he was toast on the kickoff when Wesley Fair got the 15-yard penalty. Yes. That thing had no shot. So K-State's defense had to step up there in the end.
That's also not a thing that I think like you need to do on every kickoff. But like if you do it like every once in a while, like kind of switch it up because –
keep them honest.
Because like you said, like you're probably going to kick that out of bounds a decent chunk of the time because you have to be so accurate on a kick like that. But it was complimentary football for the first time since the Cincinnati game in 2024. So it was a step in the right direction, and everybody hated it, and I hated it because of how the game was played out and that they lost. But I don't think that Chris Klieman was wrong last week when he said that K-State is getting better.
No, he wasn't. Like I picked K-State to win today. Yeah, so I saw it. I think the last 2 weeks, now 3, they've played much more similar to the team that we expected from them.
Oh, yeah.
It's just they still had other problems that they were creating. And we said it after last week. The players didn't lose the game last week. The coaches did.
So, they are clearly getting better. And Tim Brando brought it up on the broadcast of something that I've said of this feels like a team that could be pretty similar to what KU was last year. And obviously the hope is that you don't end 5-7, but it is clear that this team is getting better and is becoming a lot more like the team that we expected before the season started. So to see that, I think we didn't really know how this game was going to play out. Like, we both picked wins. DY picked a TCU win by multiple scores.
Yeah, that guy. What's he know?
This game could have gone either way, and I don't think anybody would have been super surprised because of how the season has played out. But it is always nice to see like the passion and the want to, even when the team is 2-4. And again, like I said it after the UCF game, the crowd incredible to still have 51,000 people there when the team is 2-4. So a hat tip to everybody that went today, because I saw some people say that like they don't want to go, or they like turn down tickets to go, and it's like in April you're going to be wanting 2-4 K-State to play 4-1 TCU. So I'm always pro going because, you know, in April we're going to be like starving for a game.
Yeah, no, good point. Because there have been times where I go, oh man, this is gonna feel like a chore. But I think kind of to what you're saying, people would miss it at one point. And then also I think when the team goes to 2-4 and you've lost in every different way and it's been really painful, now people for the most part, you're not showing up in the mindset of, okay, I'm not going to be able to be hurt again by this. I'm expecting not good things to happen. Let me just go enjoy the weekend with my friends and family, and maybe a ball game breaks out in front of me. And that's what happened today. The fans, it was a little late arriving, more than usual, than what K-State is accustomed to in terms of like parking lots weren't that full early, some of the other stuff, but it filled in really, really well. And now you've put yourself in a spot of momentum moving forward for this team. Let's get into some of the specifics from this game. We'll start. It's quarterback. We always have to talk quarterback. What did you make of Avery Johnson's day? Obviously, it looks clean, no picks, throws for 3 touchdowns, close to 200 yards. My thought would be he played a very mediocre game, but didn't make any mistakes and did enough things in the right moments to keep the offense kind of moving along and not skip too many beats that would have cost you. But he didn't perform all that well today.
No, he was more of a game manager today. And to be honest, that's kind of what this game needed. Like, TCU was imploding on offense. So all you needed to do, especially when K-State got up 21-7 and had already scored 2 defensive touchdowns, the worst thing that you can do is like try and force a pass or fumble and end up costing your team and hurting them, because the only way that TCU was going to come back was if K-State was going to repeatedly shoot themselves in the foot, like they have done a lot in the first 6 games. So he was solid. He didn't do anything spectacular. He threw 3 touchdowns, continues to rise up in yardage and touchdowns. But he played a lot better against UCF and Baylor, but TCU had him schemed up pretty well. Like, TCU had 5 down linemen at times. They had spies on him the whole game. Like, he wasn't going to be able to run the ball as effective as he had.
Yeah, they called K-State had called a QB draw at one point that just very clearly had no chance of working, because you could see the linebacker right there just waiting, like they knew what was going to happen there.
The one thing that you probably want to see, and this isn't really like it's not necessarily an Avery thing. It's more of a coaching and philosophy standpoint. K-State's offense is so much better when they're taking shots in the passing game. You need them to play more vertical in the passing game, because the drive that really turned the game around when K-State tied the game at 7, you had the big play to Jerron Tibbs, who made a great catch.
That's a great catch.
And then, you threw it deep up the seam to Garrett Oakley. Like, it isn't hard. And the Baylor game, a lot of the success came when they threw it deep and threw it vertically instead of trying to go over the middle and kind of go out on the sides and do everything that way. So you want to see more vertical passing game, but he was as good as he needed to be. Like I said, he was a game manager. He still slides too early. I'm okay with.
We needed to talk about it.
I'm okay with sliding and not taking hits, but you need to get past the first down line before you do.
Yes, there is a situation in which the slide happens. Once you cross that first down line and you slide, Perfect. Go for it. And I think there would be some that would say, well, there are those times where Avery runs kind of timid and not hard. Sliding wouldn't fix that. You're right. But a slide is I've been running hard. I got to where I need to be. I'm down, as opposed to what he does is he starts going at like 30% of what he can do and just is like bracing for hits or like shouldering down. He either needs to be 100% go or saying, all right, play's dead. Let's reboot here, because that's what's going to fire people up, is
and especially
leaving stuff out there the way that he has.
when he's done it repeatedly on third downs.
Like he did it against Iowa State. He did, it's happened in so many games, so many times over his career, where you just have to have, because I can tell you this, I am never going to see Sam Levitt, Rocco Becht, or, any Jalen Daniels. I'm not going to see those guys sliding short of the sticks on third down. I'm going to see him fighting to make sure they're at least 2 yards past it, so it's not even controversial if you got it or not. So he was fortunate that they were able to answer and come and get that first down after that happened today. It was better about not sliding afterwards. But then, again, this is where I think he has done this to himself. The people around him, the coaches, they have all done a masterful job of twisting Avery Johnson's brain into a pretzel, because then he wasn't sliding or going down in like a good manner later in the game, and it almost cost him the ball. Like he fumbled because he went down in such an awkward way, and it's like, okay, I don't know how you fix it, because the man is 21 years old. So at this point, he should know how to play football.
The problem on the one where he almost fumbled was he tried to go head first, which if you go head first, it's different. If you slide feet first, the ball gets placed where you start the slide. But if you go head first, it's where you go down. So he tried to go head first and almost lost the ball. But then I think he recovered at the bottom of the pile, but the broadcast was rough at times today. Times.
I wasn't listening on TV, but I could still hear Devin Gardner, and that was a tough listen. So Avery Johnson's final line: 16 of 26, 198, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 29 rushing yards. The running thing, it's got to be better. It's got to be more aggressive, and really, it's got to be athletic looking. We haven't seen a ton of athletic looking runs from Avery Johnson, and that's we know he is one of the superior athletes on this team in this conference, but for some reason, when he's running right now, he just makes it look awkward as hell.
UCF and Baylor, he looked more athletic. Athletic, but did not today.
Yeah,
and it hasn't at times, but Josh Hoover kind of suffered from that same thing today too.
Except Josh Hoover's not a runner.
Well, but he is athletic enough that he shouldn't look as wonky looking when he runs.
Yeah.
By the way, while we're on the topic of quarterbacks, when was the last time you saw a game that had 2 illegal forward passes in it?
Fan and I talked about that during the game. Incredible. Number one, I told Fan, I said, this is where if I was Hoover's quarterbacks coach, I would have made some offhanded joking comment to him after Avery did it. You better not do any stupid crap like that, or making fun of Avery or something. It because that's what you would do. And then all of a sudden it's he did it in an even worse way. I thought Avery's was borderline. Again, it looked bad because he's going, back and forth. His was borderline. Hoover's, even though they reviewed it and it ended up being closer, it was still pretty clear that his intent was, I'm running past this thing, and then he threw it. That was not very good. The last thing I'll say on Avery Johnson's day, the concerning part, the not fun part, is that 16 and 26, a lot of the incompletions looked like horrible misfires, just not very accurate. And then some other times where I didn't think he was even throwing to guys. I thought he was just it was like he was at Top Golf, and he thought, if I land it somewhere in one of those big targets out there, then I made it in there. It's the tighter you are on that target, you actually get better scoring for that. It's not you got in the big yellow one, great. You rolled it in from the outside. You need to be trying to pop that puppy in from the fly. Come on. I didn't like it. It was not good.
he had some bad misfires, but then like he also threw an absolute dime to Garrett Oakley and to Jaron Bradley.
Yeah, he threw some great balls today too. So
like,
and
it was
like,
very much a mixed bag kind of game.
Yeah, and you know what? We talk about this a lot. If that's a bad Avery Johnson game, you're going to live with it.
Yes.
Because even if K-State, if this game was closer or K-State had lost, yes, you could have said that Avery Johnson didn't make some plays that would have helped win, but he wasn't like why you lost. He didn't kill you. And that's the benefit, is that Avery Johnson hasn't played a game this year where you go, he's the reason why you lost. Early in the year, you can point to a lot of people on the team, and he certainly didn't help the cause in a few games, but like he didn't cost you. The two big winners of the day in the passing game were Garrett Oakley and Jaron Bradley, because they caught the 3 touchdown passes from Avery Johnson. Garrett Oakley did have a drop earlier in the game, though, that would have been significant. Little off line from Avery Johnson, but look,
it's still
quarterbacks aren't always going to hit you in the perfect spot. I know we just talked about Top Golf, but sometimes you need to be that big yellow target out there and like adjust a little bit, make some helpful catches. And Garrett Oakley, it's like it's got to be right where my hands are, or I'm not helping you.
It still hit him in the hands. Like that's a catch that Oakley has to make. But again, like he made up for it, because on that same dime that Avery Johnson threw, that might have been Garrett Oakley's best catch of his career.
Yeah, and that was the one where I was like, what the? I mean, he's catching that one, but we're going to see him drop a ball like 2 weeks from now where nobody's around him on 3rd and 8, and it's like, okay, great. Whatever.
Jaron Bradley, only 2 catches today, but very significant ones. Caught a 3rd down play and then the touchdown. Quietly, again, a good Jerron Tibbs game. Like, it's not going to blow you away, but 3 catches for 51 yards. Like, you'll take that from your number 2 wideout.
Yeah, he's turned into a very reliable guy. I mean, Fan brought this up during the game, but he's like, I mean, how unfortunate is it that these receivers have lived up to the hype and the team is still terrible?
Yeah.
Jace Brown had 3 for 27 today. He was still limited. Chris Kleiman talked about that after the game.
I think
offhand mentioning.
I think that you could tell.
Yeah.
He didn't look as crisp in his routes or as physical as he usually is after the catch.
But he had some critical catches for him today, and it helped move the offense along, which was nice.
Bye week will be big for Jace Brown, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Good time for a bye week for K-State. Joe Jackson, no Dylan Edwards, so Joe Jackson got the call today. 110 yards on the ground, 27 carries, and his first 100-yard rushing game in his career. We knew that it looked better and different last week from Joe Jackson. Some of that attributed to the offensive line has looked a lot better, not as scary for K-State. And I think there's just something to Joe Jackson has ran the football better the last 2 games. He looks like the guy that we anticipated entering the season, where it's like he's a legitimate Big 12 ball carrier. He proved it today.
Yeah, you hit that right on the head. That the last 2 games, that's the Joe Jackson that I think we both expected coming into the year. Like, I don't think that Jackson is ever going to like blow you away or is even like a huge play threat, but he is solid enough back there that he can break some tackles. He can provide a lot of physicality. I think that K-State really needed his physicality in the run game, and we'll probably dive in a little bit to coordinators. Matt Wells made a great adjustment today and saying there's a bye week coming. Joe Jackson is our best running back that we have right now. Let's feed him the rock, because K-State doesn't win this game if Jackson only has 6 more carries in the second half. Like, they needed some semblance of a run game, and Jackson really provided it. And that's why I gave him offensive MVP today, because I don't think that they win the game if he isn't effective running the ball. Very much also reminded me a little bit of, not to the same extreme, because DJ Giddens was incredible in this game, but the 2023 UCF game where K-State had a bye coming, Trayshawn Ward was out, and K-State's offense was just, let's give DJ the ball. And he touched the ball, I think, 31, 32 times in that game. Joe Jackson had 30 touches today. I did not anticipate that coming in. Also, we talk about like different things that come up during the game. 4 different ball carriers. 3 of them were running backs. Never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Monterey Elston, first carry of his career today.
Yeah, that game you're referencing, DJ Giddens, 38 touches on the day, 30 carries for 207 yards, 4 touchdowns, 8 catches for 86 yards in the game.
Like, obviously, we didn't get that from Jackson today, but Jackson was good enough that it was fine.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look and there's not really another game that comes close to touching that for DJ Giddens. He did have the game against Iowa State. They gave him 31 carries in 2023, but pretty significant there. All right, let's talk about the coordinators because that is a big focus. Both sides have had their issues. I think the defense might be a little bit easier to talk about, so we're going to talk about them last because there are some very specific things that we can point to and talk about that are question marks. Matt Wells, what did you make of the day for him?
Clunky was the first word that like came to my mind when thinking about the offense. Like, there were times where it was good. There was times where it was like, what in the hell is going on here? One of them, I think it might have been 14-7 after the first drive that TCU had, and K-State goes 3 out and goes backwards on it. And you're like, oh boy. But had some really good play calls. It was probably like an average at best performance for the whole offense, and Matt Wells included. But like, you had the play call, the fake toss that was Oakley's first touchdown was a great call. When you let Avery throw it deep to Jerron Tibbs was a great play call. And then, like I said, like adjusting to leaning on Joe Jackson, I think was a good adjustment because you needed some substance of a run game, because that is the one like real gripe that I had in the first half was I thought that the drives kept stalling in the first half because K-State couldn't run, and they were choosing not to run. So you're kind of getting Avery killed a little bit. The offensive line was getting beat a little bit. So I think that it was a solid day. Not his best. Ironically, I still think that his best game might have been against Baylor, even though you had the play calls at the end of the game that were kind of maddening. But he was solid. We'll get into the defense. It was a very so-so day, I think, for both. But both times, like, you made the plays and had the correct play calls at times that worked, that won you the game.
Yeah, weird day, because here's what I would say is that there's a real problem with how K-State started the game. It's unacceptable to get into TCU territory your first 3 drives and come away with 0 points. And K-State very easily could have lost the game right there. But then they respond after TCU gets their first touchdown of the game. By the way, TCU went 93 yards to get their first touchdown, so we're going to talk about the defense. That wasn't great for them. But K-State responds with a 6-play, 75-yard drive to find the end zone. And then after that, that's when you get the backwards throw, the fumble, the touchdown. So, like, in a matter of moments, Matt Wells is 25% on good drives for the day, but his team is up 14-7, and now they feel like they're in control of the game. They have all of the momentum, and benefited greatly from that because so after K-State scores the touchdown to go up, then they get the ball back to end the half. That doesn't really count if we're, not a legitimate drive there.
No.
So K-State gets the ball, half ends. K-State didn't get they got the ball back finally in the late third quarter. They go down, they score the touchdown, and then that's when the Dez pick 6 happens following that up. So they've built this big lead. They feel like they're pulling away, and the offense has only had to have 2 good drives for you in that stretch. So it just bad start, same type of thing where it's like, you're not going to be able to take advantage of this. And I wrote about that in kind of the factors for the game where it was no empty frames. You can't go out there and, like in bowling, you can have a couple strikes in a row, and then the defense, they get your stop, so you're opened up, and then you go, 6-2. We only put up 8. We only knocked down 8 pins in that frame. It's like that's going to kill your score in the end. And I think They were in that position today. But like we've said here, for Avery Johnson, for a lot of these other guys, when they did good things today, it worked out really, really well for them. And it was progress in some ways. It's just you've got to be cleaner and crisper because you're not always going to get what you got from the defense today. Because even though I thought the defense played well, I think they've played a little bit better at times because they made plays last week too. You still have to be able to take advantage when they're there, and that's going to stick with me more than what K-State did because today doesn't feel like it was about the offense to me. It was a good game for Joe Jackson. The offense, look, I get it. They still scored 27 of the 41 points that were put on the board. But I will say this, 28-27, that would be if you're trying a real hard sports radio side and you're like really wanting to tear down Matt Wells. You're like, well, actually, he technically still lost to TCU, but the defense pushed him over the top. Believe me, folks, that's not what I'm actually doing here. I'm just pointing out like that, how significant it was and how this game worked out. And the lingering thought for me is going to be those first three drives and botching the opportunities were there. If you take out the first three drives, though, and what K-State did today, it's exactly what you would want for them. They went out there and let's see here. Basically only 7 viable possessions 7. They went out and scored touchdown, field goal, and then they had 2 punts in there. That's what you want. Like, that's a great day. It's just that we know what happened outside of that to start it off. And because it's the first thing you saw, and because you had a chance to set the tone and go out there and be up 14-0, or even if it's 10-0, it's a lot different. So very similar to what we saw last week in Waco, where the lulls just can't happen at those times when you have a chance to kind of put your foot on the gas, whether it's to build the lead immediately or to expand upon the lead like they had against Baylor. And obviously Baylor took advantage of it. Fortunately, TCU didn't take advantage of it today.
He's not here, so I'll use his numbers. This is all from KSU_fan. K-State 5.15 yards per play. That's actually below average for this year. And 40.9% success rate, which is also like a touch below K-State's average, but 41% success rate, like you'll take that. But then interestingly, because the defense helped a little bit, you get 2.67 points per drive, which is well above K-State's average. And then interestingly, this points to the offensive line really taking a step. TCU's havoc rate defensively was only 4.5%. Like, K-State's offensive line did their job. Avery did a good job of not really putting the ball in harm's way too much today. So it was a solid day. Like, it was probably it was below average in a lot of the different categories that K-State had, but I don't know, it didn't need to be spectacular today because TCU was never going to win this game.
No. And that's partly because of K-State's defense today. So we talked about the good of Des Purnell and Wesley Fair. Nice for them to have good days. We said it also. I thought this was the best game the corners played all season. And the benefit there would be is that it was Zayshawn Rich and Donovan McIntosh a majority of the time that were out there at those spots, which those were the guys that we thought going into the year you'd rely upon. They're younger guys, but they look good out there today. And, a couple of times that they got beat, it was later in the game when it was pretty much already decided. And, TCU had to make some impressive plays there. I thought there was a lot of good that happened there. Really, the only thing that's going to ring out from this game for the defense is, Joe, 3rd and long, cut the freaking blitzes. What are we doing? Have they ever worked? You know that clip of Patrick Ewing when he's in the huddle during a timeout talking to Georgetown, and he's going, "What is that shot? Did you take that shot in practice? What are you doing taking that?" That's me every time Joe Klanderman, he goes, "Has that ever worked?" It's like, that's Joe Klanderman whenever he dials up one of those blitzes. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you taking that shot? Has that ever worked? And it's like, no, it actually hasn't worked since he had freaking elite defenders on his 2022 Big 12 title team. They just get smoked by it all the time, and especially against a quarterback like Josh Hoover. I know that there are some KSO posters that are driving it hard that Hoover sucks and all this other stuff. He's not that good. He's one of the better throwers of the football in the Big 12. You give him hardly anybody out there to defend a pass, not muddying the waters on him. He's going to connect on a guy if it's right there. You're fortunate that there were so many drops today for TCU. That would change maybe the equation of this game a little bit. But that's really the one thing that sticks with me, and I think a lot of fans are going to think about is just insanity, because K-State early in the game got toasted on it a couple of times, and you're just thinking, why? Why are you doing this? Because the defense had been playing well just in like traditional coverage at that point. And when it's down, well, I don't know. I'll let you take over here because I'm sure you feel the same about it. Maybe not as aggressive as me, but crazy.
3rd and 11, cover 0 when the game was 0-0, and TCU hits that for a 35-yard play. Like, that's the one that really stands out to me. We got some good, some bad. Too many explosives. We've already hit on it. That is the biggest Achilles heel of this team right now defensively, is they will give up a big play. And not just like big plays and you tackle somebody after like a gain of like 25. It's like 60, 70, 80 yards at times. So that needs to stop. Still rotating too much for my liking on defense. Like, K-State holds TCU to a 3-and-out to start the game, and 2 linebackers come in that are new and didn't play on that first series. Like, the first guys played 3 plays. You don't need to. It feels a little bit like forced rotating a little bit to me, and kind of putting guys in that you like. It just is there just to be there. But we've also been on this show yearning for big plays on defense. And, you got 2 touchdowns. Desmond Purnell almost had a third. Like, he was very close to taking that second pick back. And then, it was almost a career, game of the century for Desmond Purnell, because he was maybe a second or a step away from a 3rd interception today, too. Like, he was all over the field. Defense made big plays and did enough early on that the big plays that they allowed didn't matter, because TCU couldn't do anything on offense for 3/4 of the game. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Here you go. Here's Patrick Ewing. I hope you can. If you can't hear the audio, Drew,
I have seen this clip. It is very funny.
Step back, one-legged. What kind of shot is that? Have you ever shot that shot? Do you work on that shot? When?
I mean, that's one of those where I look at it and I go, okay, like, I thought that made me think that Patrick Ewing was going to work as the Georgetown head coach. And then when they won the Big East tournament in 2021 and snuck in, I was like, oh, yes, he's going to do it. He's going to get Georgetown back on track. It didn't work out, obviously.
Is there a more fluky result in college basketball the last 6 years than Georgetown winning that Big East tournament?
Yeah, Wichita State winning the American regular season that year, Drew. That one. Or Oregon State going to the Elite Eight that season because they won the Pac-12 tournament. Yeah,
that's true.
It was anything that happened in 2020 or 2021 because of COVID, flukes, doesn't matter.
But then you want more pass rush still. Desmond Purnell also had a sack today. I know who Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week is going to be this week. I'm pretty confident in that.
Yeah.
You want more pass rush from defensive linemen. Jordan Allen, I thought, had a really good game today, stepping up for Toby Osunsami, who is out for an undetermined amount of time. Tim Brando kind of made it seem like the season, but we'll see.
Chris Kleiman didn't get the chance to address this after the game because I don't know how many other people heard it. I was going to ask him about it, but the mic was kind of hogged by the south side of the room today. I'm just, Mitch Fortner, Kellis Robinette. I'm just saying,
Let's say you got to call them out if you're
Mike's didn't really travel across the equator too much today. So, and then it was a quick wrap today. I think there was some happy celebrations that were about to take place because Wesley Fair was in there with like 10 minutes left in Chris Kleiman's press conference, just chilling, ready to talk to people.
He's just always ready. Like linebacker play was solid. VJ Payne, again, that's another guy that really stood out to me as somebody that played really well today. Good to see that he played well today because that's another guy that we've been like, where is he?
Yeah.
But it was just a solid day. Special teams, like we said, nothing spectacular. Luis Rodriguez is awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's on his way to being a top 5 kicker at K-State.
Is he the most impactful person to come to K-State like post July 4th?
Has to be close. Keontae Johnson maybe would be different sport. I'm just, it's been impressive. And Cub Patton, that guy, tough stuff for him. I mean, he got Wally pipped without even playing a game.
I was about to say, can you say that somebody got Wally pipped if they didn't actually play?
They never like officially had the job, but they were going to because they're like, this guy, true freshman, he's a stud, and then like gets hurt, and they just find some random dude wandering around in California. Like the Luis Rodriguez thing worked out exactly how I thought that it maybe did. If you read, D. Scott did a story for K-State either this week or last week about Luis Rodriguez, and it was exactly like when Rodriguez got the call, he said in there that he didn't have any idea if he was going to – he thought he was still going to go back to playing junior college football for this coming season when K-State called him. And now he comes in, and it's like you don't doubt when he's out there to kick the ball. And I'm dead serious. He is on his way to being one of the 5 best kickers in K-State history.
We're going to put him on Mount Rushmore next year and see if anybody notices.
I'm thinking we might have to.
By the way, I'm just seeing the stat that you have on there. Wow, Kavion McGee, that is a guy I haven't thought about in a long time.
I blew my mind. This was, I believe, let me pull it out and just confirm and find it. If memory serves right, the media guide said that this would be the 8th instance of a player with 2 interceptions in a game at K-State. That's 2 exact interceptions, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody's had a game with 3.
Oh, no. Maybe it's more than that. It's just many times, but that would be 7th on the list because then there are 6 players ahead of that, 5 which have 3, and then everybody's chasing Jamie Mendez's 4 that he had against Temple in 1992, which KSU fan informed me today he was at that game. So how old is that guy? No. We also talked about people aging, and I didn't tell him this directly in the moment, but we did talk about some people that we thought were starting to age quickly or poorly. I just want Fan to know, I don't know his exact age, but I don't think he's looking old yet. So he just might have had the thought like, this guy probably views me as old. I don't think he's old yet. So shout out to him. A couple of comments that I want to throw out there. Robbie says was an A game from the defense, B game from the offense. I would probably agree with that. It's just hard because the offense was gifted a kind of a cushy opportunity and situation that maybe, if you wanted to say it was a C+ game from the offense, that's fine. But you know what? That's average, and average was going to get the job done today based off the table that the defense set for them. 3 Pilots said when this team is on, we can beat anyone. Yeah, that's what Chris Kleiman's been telling us and saying, and some people didn't want to agree or whatever else. And I at times was like, I don't care if you can, but you need to. But yeah, that's exactly what the last 2, now this game, so 3 games, K-State's played a lot closer to the team that we thought they were. And that's why we knew when they started the season 1-3, it wasn't a talent problem for them. Correct. That it was something else. And that's why it was so frustrating. And that's why people were so unrelenting. And I think, at times, like, coaches and players have a hard time understanding that. And they just want to equate into like, well, like, can we always get that grace? And it's like, no, like if this was if this was 2009 K-State, Bill Snyder coming back, Ron Prince just tried, mass murdering the program because of how horrible of a person he was and terrible of a football coach he was, then that team went 6-6. They had some losing streaks, and you go, great season. Like we did in KSO Classic this year, the 2009 KU game, terrible football game. That team looked like trash. But you know what? Fond memories, and not going to say a bad thing about the 2009 team at K-State. 2010, they only won 7 games. You know what? I'm not going to badmouth the 2010 team. The 2015 team, I'm going to throw some shots at Joe Huebner. My apologies, Big Joe, but you weren't a great quarterback, but you played your nugs off, and you were in a situation that wasn't totally fair, and that team didn't have the talent to be that great once Jesse Ertz went down for certain. But you look at some of the others and you go, man, where was it? They played really hard. They lost 6 straight games, and they didn't quit, and they made it to a bowl game on their own volition at 6-6. Like, they played hard even though the talent wasn't there. I'm always going to give positive thoughts to Alex Delton running the ball to beat KU in 2018. The team sucked. The season sucked. But, talent not fully there. It's a little different when you underachieve. And through the first 4 games, K-State played poorly because they weren't doing things well. The last 3 games, they've been much better. And when you lose to Baylor, it sucks. And I think that was the sentiment coming out of last week was, coaches let you down there. It was a crappy feeling for everybody. But you weren't as down on the team anymore. And that's why this place was still jam-packed today when the game kicked off against TCU, because they saw a team in Waco last week that hadn't quit, that was playing better and was giving it what they had, and they just did it right here. And the hope would be is that that's going to get a lot of people that for the first time in ages probably thought they were going to forego the trip to Lawrence, where it's been a very pro K-State crowd over the years, and you're looking at the option of this being the worst K-State fan representation in Lawrence in a long time. And now maybe that flips around. So there is such a difference between not playing up to your standards and losing, or just getting beat and having one of those games. And K-State's in a 3-game stretch right now where they're playing like the team that they were supposed to be. One other comment, I'll let you answer this, Drew. Scott asked, hey guys, when do you think Lincoln will be more utilized? I found myself wondering that some today, solely because they were up big. Maybe it would have done good for K-State just to, do something, get him a catch, get him a touchdown when you're down close there, pop the boys, as Mitch Fortner would say, for the crowd, give them that little piece of candy to have on the way out. I do think you need to find a way to get him the ball a little bit more. Him a part of this.
Yeah, you need to get him more involved in terms of having him be a threat when he's out there, because it's not like he's just not playing. He just hasn't really been a threat when he's been out there. But again, and this is why I came on the show before the season started, and I said that kind of need to temper some expectations a little bit because of the position he plays, because he didn't get to Manhattan early, and because what we've seen, he's going to be flexed out wide some, he's going to play some tight end some. He's been more so just flexed out wide now, and I think part of that is because of the injury that he had during training camp. You'd like to get him more involved in the passing game, but also and I'm not saying that it's alarm bells going off and a 5-alarm fire or whatever, but at some point too, if you're out there and you are running a route, you also need to get open.
Oh, okay. Well, Drew says it's Lincoln Cure's fault that he's not playing.
I don't think that it's his fault, but at some point, there are enough tight ends that get targets in this offense.
Yeah.
That you want him to use his athleticism to get open.
I do wonder sometimes though, because they're not really using him at tight end. They're just throwing him out there at receiver. And I think this, I think there might be some overvaluing of the tight ends on your roster at times. I mean, Chris Kleiman basically tried calling Garrett Oakley one of the best tight ends in the country earlier today, which I don't know about that. So I just wonder, you have a bunch, they are loaded in terms of guys that can legitimately play that position in the Big 12. They had 4 of those dudes before Lincoln Cure joined the roster. And you're trying to find ways to, use all of them. They all can bring you something. And so, yeah, it's to what you're saying. It's tougher because he wasn't here, and there are some adjustments that have to be made. But
and he was hurt.
You get him the ball, like he's going to be able to do some things. And again, like just it's a morale thing for everybody. Everybody would feel better if Lincoln Cure scored a touchdown. You know, the best spot to do it next 2 weeks from now against his brother in Lawrence when K-State goes out and wins 17 straight against the Jayhawks.
Maybe they're saving it.
Yeah, maybe so. All right, that'll do it for us today. K-State gets the win over TCU, 41-28, the final score. If you were paying attention, best bets, I did say the over in this game earlier in the week. DY called me an idiot. He thought that he had a problem with me saying 38-35 was my predicted final score. Just pointing out right here that I was very close in terms of total points, what K-State scored, them getting the job done. So I don't know. Maybe you should pay me more money. Raise me.
Nice to not play a one-score game this week. I do appreciate
those are
that.
fun. That makes it a lot easier.
K-State now plus 17 in point differential, but 3-4.
Hell yeah. We can do this real quick. Just a quick housekeeping of things that have gone on in the Big 12. Wins today for Colorado over Iowa State 24-17, Cincinnati 20-11 over UCF, and Houston 39-17 over Oklahoma State. Currently, BYU, Arizona in a weather delay. That was expected because weather was going to be dog today in Tucson. So BYU leads 14-7, and then KU 21-14 against KU with about a minute left till halftime. We'll see how that one goes. That's going to be a fascinating finish to follow because Tech got up big early, and now KU's kind of clawed back into that thing.
Yeah, it was 21-0 Texas Tech early on, and now it's 21-14. We were wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit when we're wrong on this show when we said it was probably better to play Iowa State early than late.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't know that Iowa State was going to have a million injuries coming into the year, and it would have made more sense to see what they had and what they were bringing in and what they were bringing back, that you'd want to play them early. But that's a team that, wow, yeah, if K-State didn't have a bye week this upcoming week and instead played Iowa State, I would put a lot on K-State to win.
Yeah, it's this just goes back to the blood is on Gene Taylor's hands for this season. It's unfortunate, and I get why it happened and all that, and you can't Iowa State has never had this kind of bad luck over the last 5-6 seasons with Matt Campbell. Like we've talked about, they've been the ones that have stayed healthy. Like last year, they stayed healthy. The COVID year when they played in the Big 12 title game, they managed COVID better than about every other team. And when we talked about that game that K-State went up there and played, K-State was under the threshold. K-State could have opted out and not played that thing if they didn't want to. There's been a lot of good fortune there, and we're seeing it kick in. If you want, silver lining, hey, K-State, you finally have a brother in the Abu Sama H-Up game crowd, because he went for 177 and 2 touchdowns today against Colorado, but it wasn't enough for Iowa State.
Iowa State is so banged up that they had an offensive lineman do a kickoff for them because their other kicker was a little bit gimpy.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of kickers out there, but they're jealous that Luis Rodriguez chose K-State over Iowa State, even though he wasn't going to play. Who cares? All right, that'll do it for us. We will have normal shows throughout the week. Monday, we will find out Kick Time TV network for K-State and KU, as long as they don't do that damn 6-day selection.
They shouldn't, with both teams on a bye.
You would hope not. True. What are you selecting? They are who we thought they were if you wait 6 days, but they might wait on other ones.
Do you want to make a prediction right now?
Well, let me finish here. And then Fan and I will be in Lawrence, but in the meantime, we will do this crew, all 3 of us, next weekend sometime. We might wait until after things settle down, Saturday evening with the games and everything. Fan wasn't able to be with us today.
I'll be gone on Saturday.
Okay. He's still alive. He's doing well. He just wasn't able to do the show. Conflicts. He was at the game until it hit garbage time, and he said, "I'm out of here. I'm beating this traffic." So yes, we will do that, and then we'll have boots on the ground. In Lawrence at David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium. Great. Fantastic. Who cares? All right. Yes, Drew. Give your prediction here that you wanted to give. 2 weeks ahead of schedule.
2 weeks ahead. Well, I was going to say like for time and TV.
Oh, yes. Even better. I don't want to talk about the game. Yes, time and TV. Let's give it a go. Let me hear it.
I'll say 2:30 FS1.
Okay. I'm going and I'm looking right here to see what games kind of already have designations. So you say 2:30 FS1?
Yeah, and I'm doing that without even looking at what else is going on that week. I'm just
I don't think there's a whole lot that's already been decided there. The SEC at least has a little bit, so like you can try to guess where ESPN's going to fall into this thing.
I'm just throwing this out there. I don't think that Sunflower Showdown will be an ESPN game.
It was last year.
Yeah, but the K-State's 3-4. KU might be 4-3. I don't think that's getting ESPN.
Last year might have been the first time the Sunflower Showdown was ever played on an ESPN network. You know what? I'm gonna get crazy here for you, Drew. And I don't know if it would work out like this. I don't know if they get this time slot because they've kind of been all over the place. I'm going 7 o'clock TNT.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I could see it being a TNT game. I could also see it being not the 2:30 FS1 game, but 2:30 on Fox.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, but you know what? K-State hasn't played on TNT yet this year. Give them a network that would feel big for that game because it's standalone. Like they have to only put their resources into it. Let's do that. I'm gonna get out of here right now because the cleaning crew's in here and just. No regard for human life. I get it. They're doing their job. I was about out of here anyways. I don't want to hold them up. Don't want to hold myself up. Want to get on the road, get back home at a decent time, and watch second half of Arizona State and Utah coming up tonight. So that'll do it for Drew Galloway, for myself, Mason Voth. Back again on Monday talking about what Chris Kleiman said heading into the bye week. I guess I don't know. Maybe there's not going to be a press conference on Monday. There wasn't one at the last bye week, so we'll see. We may not hear from Chris Kleiman. Either way, you will hear from us. Yeah, we'll talk about something. Vibes are better for K-State. They're now 3-4, back to 500 in Big 12 play, and we'll see what comes next for the Wildcats. 5 games left in the regular season for K-State. Next up, it is a big one as they hit the road to take on Kansas in Lawrence.